The Renault 5 was known for being practical, for being cheap, for being rather big on the inside. But now there's a new one. This is the Renault 4 E-Tech, a 100% electric vehicle. But is it as practical and is it as family friendly as the car that we've known our entire lives? Everybody's talking about the Renault 5, one of the best-selling EVs right now in Europe. Everybody loves it. But what if I told you that this, the Renault 4, its bigger sibling, improves on some of the things where the Renault 5 might fall short? It is a bit bigger, a bit more versatile, and maybe this is a sensible car to get. In this video, we're going to explore it in depth. I am in Portugal, where for 2 days we'll be driving the car, testing it, and seeing what it's all about here on Totally Electric. The car is 4 meters, 14 centimeters long, so it is a B-segment SUV. In fact, if you look up here, you can see the styling follows the good old Renault 4. It's a bit funny looking at first because, you know, the old Renault 5 was a brilliant looking car, and making an updated modern version of a hot hatchback, that's easy. This is much more of a challenge. The Renault 4 was never a pretty car. It was the ugly but sensible sibling of the Renault 5. Maybe initially I thought this was going to be the same, but the more I drive it and the more I look at it out here in the real world, the better I think it looks actually. I think Renault has gotten away with actually making this car look quite good. So in the back we've got 440 litres, which is a lot for a car this size, but almost more important than that, it's quite low down. So I don't have to lift up my shopping bags all the way from the ground and, you know, heave them into the car. It's quite easy to access. And that is actually something that on a daily basis you really appreciate. Electronic liftgate as well. I just wanted to pause for a second and thank every single one of you who has subscribed to the channel. Because of you guys, I get to travel to wonderful places like this and try cars like this one, give you guys the data and let you guys know if this is a car that you should be considering. So thank you very much if you're subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate you. The Renault 4 is available with 2 different battery sizes and 2 different motors. So the smaller battery of 40 kilowatt hours gets a 90 kilowatt motor mounted in the front, and the 52 kilowatt hour battery, which is the bigger one, gets a 110 kilowatt motor also in the front. The smaller battery will do 308 kilometers according to the WLTP cycle, and the larger one will do 409. Now, one of the complaints about the Renault 5, not the 4, the 5, is that it was actually not a super efficient car. It isn't a super efficient car, at least that was the way it was when it was launched. According to Renault, they've improved the software for the motors, and this one, as well as the Renault 5 now with updated software, will be much more efficient, so you'll go longer on the same amount of electrons. However, this is not the day to test it. I'm in beautiful Portugal, in the mountains with the cliffs and the sea in the background. I am not going to do a range test here because it's just too hilly. There's not a consistent highway I can test this at, because when I test these cars, I drive at 120 kilometers an hour consistently until I drain the battery. I can't do that here, so we're gonna have to wait until they'll leave us a car for a few days or maybe even a week so we can do an actual electric exam like we usually do here on this channel. Now, I first saw this car at the unveiling in Paris about 6 months ago. My first impressions of it was that it's not the prettiest of cars. However, I think I'm going to have to change my opinion on this. Maybe it's just that we're here in this beautiful location, but maybe it's when you actually get out and drive it, it looks quite good. Look, it even looks a little bit more muscular in the back here with these wheel arches, and the shape. I don't disagree with it. I kind of like it. It's growing on me. It truly is. Now, here's a fun little thing. It doesn't have a normal bumper. It's got these things here in the corner, which is sort of an overhang that protects you from hitting things. And there's one in each corner. It's full of little details. Now, You'll see here, the Renault racing lines are everywhere on the car. If we come down to the front of the car, it's sort of a mix between classic Renault 4 and a modern design. You'll see the connection between the two front lights. This bit here in the middle, that is typical classic Renault 4, but it's sort of with an updated design. All right, enough with the chit chat. Let's take this car for a ride around the beautiful Portuguese countryside and see what it's like to drive, see what it's like inside that Google or Android automotive system and all that stuff that Renault puts into their cars. Let's go check it out. Oh, look at these wheels, by the way. They are specific to the iconic line of this car. Anyway, let's go. The Renault 4 uses the Google Automotive or the Android Automotive system on the main screen here. It's a wonderful system. You got your Google Maps integrated, and Google Maps, you can log into Google and it knows everything about you, where you go on a daily basis, where you live, and you know, it's Google, they know everything. But it's really useful to have that on the maps here. It also connects with chargers, you know where to go, where to stop, or where to charge, how much energy you're going to have left when you get to your destination. It's absolutely perfect in that sense. On top of that, Renault has made their own little system called the OpenR. It's fine, it's intuitive, it works quickly, it's easy to find your way around, it's not hard to use. I really like it. It's quite nice. Furthermore, if you do not find exactly the functionality you're looking for, you can always go to the Play Store on Google, where you can install all sorts of additional stuff there. They've got up to, I think, 100 different applications that you can install and run on your Renault while you're using it. Secondary to this screen, we have the binnacle display here. The binnacle display is, well, it's the same as on the Renault 5, but it's very bright. It's easy to see. The information is well distributed. There's good colors, and it's a nice setup. The only thing I don't like too much in this interior is the excessive amount of stalks and buttons, which just is overwhelming, especially when you're just driving this car occasionally. I'm sure if it's your car, you get used to it instantly, but hey, this isn't mine, so I am overwhelmed. Other than that, I really like this interior. It is classic and modern at the same time, just like on the Renault 5. Here's something special about the Renault 5. You can actually get this as a soft top, and when it's open, I mean, this is like a sports car with all the wind in your hair. There's loads of space in here. The whole top of the car opens up. It gives you this beautiful view of the sky when you need to. I know if you're from the UK, you probably don't care, but hey, I am in Portugal, so I do. So now that you guys are thinking, when am I going to tell you whether this car has a frunk or not? Let's get the important facts out right now. So first of all, let's get in the car. Got a little lever down here. Uh-oh. It's never a good sign. We come around to the front and we open up and, well, it's got an inverter, it's got a motor, it's got all sorts of stuff, but no frunk. Sorry guys. So if there's no frunk, how much space have we got in the back of the car? We've got 440 litres, which is a lot for this size of car, and there's a little bit of extra space here down there for our charging cables. And if you look up here, you'll find the Flaw logo, and haha, we can actually get a little plug out of there. That's good, because if you want to, say for example, you know, inflate your tires or something with a little pump, it's good to have an access point here in the back of the car. The very first thing I want to find out is this car actually any fun to drive, or is it just yet another pretty face with a fat ass? Now, it's front wheel drive. I've got the big motor, 110 kilowatts, and I've got 52 kilowatt hours of battery. By the way, the battery only weighs 300 kilos. So it's not like I'm hauling around a ton of extra weight. You know, and it's quite a nimble car, to be honest. Even though it's a little bit tall, so it's not as direct as its sibling, the Renault 5, which is one of the most fun electric cars you can drive. However, it is front-wheel drive, so if I put my foot down, I get a little bit of torque steer, and if I turn the steering wheel, while I put my foot down, the car will easily skid up and round the corner. I mean, this is not the kind of car you will be driving aggressively. By the way, I put it in sport mode because why not? I don't care how much range is on it, I'm just going to be driving around the countryside. If you're ever in a Renault E-Tech and it starts beeping at you, that's probably because you're going over the speed limit. So all you have to do is click this button you've got here on your left hand side twice, and it'll select your own personal settings where you can disable all these mandatory but quite annoying warnings. So for driving experience, I'd say this is a family car. This is an adventure car. It's not a sports car or a nervous little hatchback. For that, go get the R5. Or, if you're really into it, get the Alpine A290. By the way, if you want to watch a video of me driving the Alpine A290 around a racetrack, we've got that too on the channel. There, look how it skids out. Woo! Nearly got in trouble there. But the Renault 4 isn't perfect. There are a few things I'd improve on this car. For example, the charge port is located front left, meaning that I'll always have to park front first if I want to go and stop at a charger, and that might not always be the easiest thing to do. Also, when it's in the front, it's always behind the front wheels, meaning that the distance from the charge port to the front of the car is quite large. So sometimes it can be a problem to find a charger with a long enough cord for you to plug it in. Of course, it's relatively easy because it's on the driver's side, at least in mainland Europe. In the UK, it'll be on the other side. Small detail, maybe not the most important, and your preference might be different. Now, I do have one other thing about this car that I would improve, and that's quite fundamental. It's the actual battery size. So the larger battery is 52 kilowatt hours, and it'll give us about 409 kilometers of WLTP range. I live in Spain, and Spain is a big country, so basically if you want to go anywhere from the center of Spain, Madrid, to the coast, it's about 500 kilometers. And to do 500 kilometers in this car basically means you'll have to do a stop of at least half an hour halfway. That could have been a little bit better. Now, this is a versatile, relatively comfortable family car. It's for adventures, it's for traveling, right? So why not just put a little bit extra of battery in there? The Renault 5, I get it, it's a city car, but this is an adventurous car. You want to be out there. And with just 52 kilowatt hours of battery, it's slightly limited. Would have been nice to get like 65, 70 kilowatt hours of battery, and then you might also up the charging speed. You see, the charging speed is just 100 kilowatts. 100 kilowatts, 52 kilowatt hours of battery nowadays means that for traveling, it's not the most comfortable car in the world. That is what I would improve on the Renault 4. But there are more things to the Renault 4. There's also this. Look, this is the Scrambler, an electric motorcycle launched as well. And we've got this, the Sea Cruiser. We've even got this here, the electric bicycle. I think I'll take the Scrambler. So in the Renault 4, you can fit a surfboard of up to 2 meters 20 long. You can even fit a Big Dane in here, though I'm just 1.90 meters. The Renault 4 is built on the AMPR small platform by Renault. This platform is built completely in Europe. So in the northern part of France, they built the motors, the battery packs, and everything else. They'll even start building the individual battery cells very soon as well here in Europe. This is absolutely a first. The AMPR platform includes V2L, vehicle to load. So you can plug in anything you like on your car and it'll serve up to 3.6 kilowatts of power. So you could run a fridge, you can charge your iPhone. If you're out, you can plug in, I don't know, a speaker and have a little party. plenty of options that you can use. You could probably also just charge another electric car from this car. The AMPR platform, as you can see here, combined with the charger I have over here on my left, also allows for vehicle to grid, where this vehicle will return energy back to the grid. This is currently used in France, but not in other markets. It does not, however, include a vehicle to home, which is interesting because that's sort of the in-between between vehicle to load and vehicle to grid. But vehicle to home is just such a plethora of different configuration and platforms and chargers and houses. So they're just not there yet. They might be soon, but not yet. So let's talk about what I see as a driver. I'm wearing my super Ray-Ban glasses so that you can see exactly what I'm seeing. I've got a steering wheel with loads of buttons on it. On the left is for ADAS. Here's sort of menus, voice control, phone, up and down scroll. This multi-sense button will give me access to the different drive modes. Now behind the steering wheel, I've got 3 stalks on the right hand side, gears, windshield wipers and audio, which also has got like a scrolling device thingy on the back. On the left hand side I've got my blinkers and stuff. Then I've got a set of buttons over here on the right hand side where I can click this one twice and it's going to activate my safety perso, which is my personal configuration, so the ADAS system won't beep at me. I've got a little screen here in the middle with some additional volume buttons on top of it. There are more buttons down here for the aircon. I've got a nice binnacle display that's got very, very good and vivid graphics on it. If I use the multisense to change the driving mode, it'll change the whole look and feel of this whole thing. So at first impression, that's a lot of stuff. But if this was your car, you'd get used to it. I've driven quite a few Renaults now, and it's too much, I know, but I don't really mind. Now, one thing that's different on this one is that I've got these levers here behind the steering wheel. Now, these aren't Lambo levers, but I can change how much automatic braking or regen is applied, all the way down to one pedal driving. Very good, Renault. I like this. Now let's go check out the driver assistance features when we're on the road. Driver assistance features are managed here on the left hand side of the steering wheel, as you can see from my glasses point of view. I can change the assistance mode. I've got speed limiter, I've got active cruise control, and I've got what they call the active assist or active assistance, where it'll basically do all the driving for me as long as I stay in a straight line, or if I don't have to do any overtaking or anything like that. So it'll keep me in my lane and it'll keep me at the correct pace. This is a very comfortable system when we're on the highway. Now here on these windy, narrow Portuguese roads, it's quite easy for it to be overwhelmed by the turning. So actually, when I have to go around a corner, it will sometimes deactivate itself and it'll turn itself off in this binnacle display. It would have been nice with a little auditory warning, but it sort of just drifts out of a curve, and then you sort of have to rescue it. So it's a very good system for highway driving, not optimal for these back roads. So for example, we're going around a turn here. Now, it's doing it quite well because I got a car in front of it, but even at 35, it is unable to follow the car around the corner. That's not great. That is not great. I have 35 kilometers an hour. Could have been better, Renault. But the success of the Renault 4, of course, depends heavily upon the price. Here in Spain, you can get this car for 30,000 euros. That's, of course, the smaller battery and the smaller motor. If you want the bigger battery, 52 kilowatt hours, and the bigger motor, 110 kilowatts, then it's going to cost you 33,000 euros. That's for the Evolution trim. If you want to go one step up to the Techno, it's going to be 35. Another step up to the Iconic, it's going to be 37,000 euros. Of course, that's before any government incentives, any discounts you might get from the dealership. All in all, I'm sure you can go into a dealership, get your discounts, get your government incentives, and get the bigger battery, the car you really want, for less than 30,000 euros. I think that sounds more than reasonable. That is the Renault 4 E-Tech. Honestly, I'm quite positively surprised after having driven it and seen it out in real life. I wasn't exactly wowed by the design when it was first unveiled, but it is truly growing on me. I do see the practicality of having a car that's a little bit bigger in the back, and it's got a big boot as well, so you can actually use it for the entire family and not just as a little city runabout for a couple. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. I do read all the comments and I enjoy them very much, especially when they're kind.